I think he's already come on board, and I think he's an expert in this area. And more than that, actually, you can, if there are some issues on underwriting, some issues on anything else, you can pass on. But I think critically, we will look at his support, Pratish Chandrambadu's support, primarily around one, from a data perspective, what all data points exist, and also KYC related stuff. What are the various KYCs available? From where you can originate? What kind of data is there? I think Pratyush is the big expert and sort of has been helping us in this journey for a lot of time. And I think Oddbridge as an entity also is doing a good job. So sir, over to you. And I think I can see you. I can't hear you. I hope it's all working. Over to you. And this group is phenomenal. I think the number of questions they asked are huge. I know that your sessions typically tend to become 1 hour to 1.5 hours. Unfortunately, we don't have a choice right now. Otherwise, we'll have challenges in the day. And just to give you, Pratyush, the last session was supposed to be 1 hour. It was so interactive that one of my session is off. My 1 hour session is off, so we are leaving it there. So I think your task is cut out. You have just 1 hour, but I'm sure we'll be able to catch a lot from that side. Over to you, sir. Over to you,
Sure.
sir.
Thanks, Samir. Thank you so much. And I take this heads up that I have to finish this in 1 hour. Good afternoon, everyone. While I'll just correct one thing, I think one of the subject, which is KYC and digital onboarding, I think it's a very vast subject. So probably nobody is expert, but yes, we learn from each other every day when we interact. And that's the way we have planned the session for today. So I heard some of the question in terms of KYC. I'll try and answer some of them. Let me just quickly start my presentation. So, all right. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. And our session for today is digital onboarding and KYC solutions. While digital onboarding includes the KYC solutions, but why a specific KYC solution is because I believe that this is one of the very vast subject where one has to really be knowing and always be on top of it, that what are the regulations around it, because unless you are fully compliant, sometimes these KYC can actually put you in a trouble, especially in the BFSI industry. So a little bit of introduction about the organization, Oddbridge. Oddbridge is a technology solution provider and alternate data service provider. And our products are largely into the fraud and risk management, digital onboarding, and business intelligence. And we provide the solutions, various plug and play solutions in terms of business plus individual verification, any kind of a litigation checks, any kind of a digital onboarding, which is workflow management, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of services which is available based on the data. There's a lot of services which is available based on the on top of these data, the analytics. And analytics is actually helping us to provide some of those hidden patterns, which probably all of the lending industry would be keen to know about their customer and the environment both. Quick background about myself. I have been into the banking and financial services for the last 20 years. I have worked largely in the NBFC space, but I spent about 6 years with the credit bureau and a couple of years with one of the bank. My domain has been product management, business analytics and business development. But on core of this entire thing has been always a risk and fraud management analytics. And those things have really helped me in terms of getting to know about most of the product, what is required and what is there in the industry. And then obviously driving this from the business perspective. So my current role is with Oddbridge, and I'm driving the revenue for banking and financial services. So today's session I've divided into three pieces. And if you look at one of the key things is that digitization. So this is becoming more and more relevant and very, very popular subject that everybody is adopting digital, everybody is going digital, everybody is adopting technology. Many of the lenders are actually going for the alternate data as well. But what are the tools which is showing an early trend in terms of adoption, and how easy and how difficult it is to really adopt it in your entire lending ecosystem? The most important thing is that what kind of a digitization is happening and what is the early trend, and that's something which we'll talk about today. How do you implement this? I mean, when you are implementing the digital solutions, one of the key is the KYC, and there's a total KYC solution. So we all know that there is a manual way of doing the KYC. You collect the photocopy, you do the OSVs, etc., etc. But Now it is moving towards the contactless onboarding, and obviously everybody is looking for is there a way to onboard customer remotely and still do the KYC. So how do we do that? What kind of a KYC is available? I'll try and briefly touch about all types of KYC. As we said, this is a very vast subject, so probably this requires more detailing, but my effort is to cover most of the things and probably give you a structure to really look into this whenever you are going through the video, what Samir has also shared. The last piece is that some practices we understand when we deal with our clients, some practices you guys are adopting, and obviously there has to be an interaction. Some of those questions will definitely help me to learn, and probably some of those things you guys will be able to pick it up from me. Now, everywhere we are talking about digital, but why is this digital adoption required, and what is that digital adoption? So I've tried to summarize it here in this slide. And if you look at the digital transformation leads to various aspects of your business, right? And once we are into the financial services where we are dealing with the money and we are dealing with the risk, and we are in a business of buying the risk, I think most important thing is to understand that how do we adopt these technologies and what's going to be the impact on our customer or maybe our business. So bringing that operational efficiency, ensuring that we are fully compliant, improving the customer experience, getting more and more insight about the customer, creating some product which is required and which is actually customer requirement for the need of the hour. So not necessarily that every customer needs the similar kind of a financial product at the same point of time. I think this is very, very important to know. And mostly when the things and the scenarios have changed around us post-pandemic scenario, most of the customer requirements are changing. And some of you who are dealing into the credit card would have seen there are revolvers, there are spenders, there are different categories, and it is showing very different trends right now. So providing and innovating those products, which is really important for the customer to take at that point of time, is also important. And you can only do this with on the basis of getting more insight about customer, and getting more insight about customer is leading for you to go and get more and more data. Now, one of the unique way of taking the data is that everybody goes to the credit bureau and pulls that data and do the underwriting, because we are thinking that we have to give them some loan and some product. And basically what will happen, you will underwrite based on that product. But do we know more about that customer? Do we really understand the customer requirement today? And probably what is 3 months later or 6 months later? I think that's the place where I'm talking about more and more use of the data. Regulatory environments are changing. We all are aware that RBI is also coming up with a lot of changes in the regulations in terms of the KYC norms, some of the other norms, considering that there has been some impact on the overall economy, some impact on the people's earning capacity, some impact on the overall portfolio. So multiple things are happening around, and obviously adoption of technology and digitization is going to help in terms of able to for any organization for able to manage these situations and these challenges. Now, why this is important in my view is that everybody is leading into the financial product, but the important thing is that how are you dealing with the situation, and how are you making yourself differentiated with your peers and competition is based on the data. What more insight you have, what better technology in the platforms you have, and what all things this is changing. So market is moving from probably buyer to user. So basically you are directly reaching out to the customers now. Earlier, the customer or consumer used to come to the branches or probably trying to contact you, but now all the lending organizations are trying to reach out to the consumers directly. And that is a direct to consumer business where your touch point with the customer is more and more. Streamlining onboarding and verification. So how quickly you can do this onboarding, and there are components to this onboarding. You have to understand, you have to do the verification, you have to digitally underwrite the customer, and then you decide that what kind of a lending you are going to give. And the third piece is that you need to take care of, you're not meeting the customer, your employee is not meeting the customer. So you have to take care of the customer and employee both. In a remote work environment where people are operating from home, not able to go to the market. And these are the situations which is there and probably will continue for some more time. But Today, it is forcefully done. Over a period of time, probably this will become a norm, and everybody will start going more and more digital and adopting this as a normal practice. So today, everybody goes for the physical verification of the customer place, whether the customer is staying there, not staying there, third-party agencies are being used. But I think these are things which is going to get evolved, and more people will start using the digital tools, and it will become more of a digitized way. Now, let's look at what are the key things which is the trend. So in the changing scenario post-pandemic, so I have tried to summarize this based on my interactions with the market, talking about a lot of risk officer, digital officers, and figuring it out that what are the key core things which is happening as a change, and everybody is looking for that, because that's also giving a lot of insight from our perspective that what are the solutions which is going to be there in the market and people will start using it. So the early trend has clearly shown some of the digital platforms to be in use, and I've just divided this into the 4 quadrants, considering that the use cases would be completely different. Now, one of the key things where we are seeing that there's a lot of change is the contactless onboard journey. So basically, you're not meeting the customer, but you have to complete the KYC. You have to make sure their addresses are verified. You have to make sure that you are talking to the customer, and all of these things are happening seamlessly. Now, in that interaction, whether it is, if it is a retail loan, obviously it becomes a seamless onboarding journey. But whether it is if there is a business loan, then probably you have to interact with the customer. A lot of SMEs are there. You may probably want to connect with the multiple directors, multiple partners, their chartered accountants, underwriter would like to talk to those customers and trying to get more and more insight. So I think that's one cohort where there's a lot of digital platform which is coming into the play. And we are going to talk about this slightly more in detail, because this is one of the key changes or the key early trends we are seeing in terms of digital onboarding and acquisition. The next cohort is fraud identity through technology and data. So how are you identifying the fraud? So there is a norm in the lending industry that you go and you pick up the documents, you do the screening, sampling, you ask questions, trying to figure it out through some inferencing through the credit bureau, whether there is a fraud or there is no fraud. One key things, and this is exactly happening in, and we have got to know about this, some early trends in the different markets, not only in India market, the outside India market also. The more and more you go the digital, the chances of doing the fraud in a digital way is much higher, right? How do you control that? And what are the tools which you will adopt to make sure that these are the frauds which can be avoided? If you look at the recent regulation of even video KYC by the regulator, so they have introduced very specifically 3 or 4 checks to ensure that while they are saying that the usage is expanding, but at the same time, you have to ensure that there is no fraud. And one of the key things, say, let's take a small example, IP spoofing. If you're doing a video KYC and you are somebody is logging from some place and they can connect through the VPN, you probably will not be able to identify whether there is a client is there in the territory of India or outside the India. So these are some of the fraud things which will happen. The more and more we start using the technology and digital way of onboarding, these things will start coming in. So how do you find out this and avoid these frauds? Use of alternate data, use of AI and machine learning, device insights. And device insight is a word. Basically, you'll have to probably work on a area where you can identify the fraud happening from the same device. So if I'm using this device for right now for applying for credit card, at the same time I can apply the personal loan, some different organization, multiple places, credit card at the same time from same device. These things will evolve, and where you'll have to really figure it out that how do you try and avoid these frauds which is going to happen through the devices. So that's basically I'm trying to put across. So identifying the fraud in a digital way is going to be very, very important. Today it is not there too much. Going forward, it is certainly going to be there. So you'll have the biometric thing. You'll have to probably make sure that Is the customer is speaking, the same customer is speaking, the faces are matching, the customer is there, this liveness checks is happening, device fraud identification is happening. So that's the second cohort, which is going to be the future, but it's actually very, very important. The third cohort is that rise of document transaction management. Now, what does this mean is a lot of documentation. So you can do the digital onboarding, you can do the digital underwriting, but if you are still going for a wet signature on an agreement, and if you're going for a wet signature on the NASH, I think the whole process gets disrupted. And now the objective is that, can we really make those processes also automated or a digital way? The answer is yes. So digital documentation to facilitate this remote onboarding. So you basically convert this entire agreement into a digital way. You are doing this in a seamless way. So the workflow is there. There are platforms where you can set this agreement and it's a workflow. So it will go to the customer, then it comes to your employee, authorized signatory. You can sign this. Now, how will you sign this? Multiple ways. You can have 3 ways of doing this signature. You can do the digital signature. You can do the e-signature, which is Aadhaar-based OTP. And you can also do the gesture-based signature. Having said that, gesture-based signature probably would not be applicable for the agreement and the contract part, but digital signature and e-signature is definitely applicable. So that's the third cohort where there is an early trend, and a lot of adoptions are happening, that people are moving from this wet signature way and to probably e-sign and digital signature way. The fourth and last cohort is, because everybody is going to collect more and more data, using analytical tool on top of it to finding out the pattern and getting the hidden insight is going to be very key. One can really collect the data about me, that how much I spent on credit card, what is the electricity bill I'm paying, what kind of money I'm spending on, say, my telephone, my devices, my other channels like Amazon Prime, etc., etc. I think these are the insights which is available as a part of alternate data. Now, getting this insight more and much better, you need to use the analytical tool, because this data is available in a very different form, very different structure. One has to put this into the structured form where you can really process this information and come out with some kind of an inferences. So using advanced analytics tool, maybe doing some rule-based triggers, maybe also figuring it out, some kind of biometric checks and biometric data. So we are talking about video KYC. Can we really, over a period of time, somebody can build a tool on top of it, analytical tool on top of it, that this kind of a video KYC is leading to this kind of a profile and portfolio, right? So that's something which is available, and that is where the adoptions are happening. So if you look at the digital adoption scenario in the recent past, what's happening in India and outside India both? Digital onboarding solutions, how to identify the fraud within this digital lending system, what are the documentation, how can we make it more digitized? And the fourth piece is that using more and more analytics on top of it. So this is the initial scenario where we are finding this a lot of traction in the market, and people are asking about it. I'm sure all of you are the part of this ecosystem. You are also thinking about these on these lines. If you are not thinking about, you're probably exploring this, and that's the early trend which we are seeing in the market. Now, one of the key things in this digital transformation is KYC. So let's talk about a little bit on KYC in terms of the contactless onboarding journey. So you are seeing that there's a KYC solution. Now, what kind of a contactless KYC solution which is available? So as per PMLA guideline, so latest was about, I think, 2020 December, if I remember correctly. And when I've gone through the entire detail, what I've done is that try to summarize this. So these are the kind of a KYC which one can adopt, contactless KYC. And second, what are the process which a regulator is asking? And then what are the controls which one has to put? I think these are the 3 bare minimum thing one has to understand, and that's the structure which I have tried to put it here. So if you look at the first and most popular and most talked about KYC solution in the recent past has been the video KYC. What is the process which regulators are asking about video KYC? They are saying there has to be a live video. There has to be an offline KYC. There has to be a PAN. One has to collect the PAN as a part of the video KYC process, and that PAN has to be verified also. Otherwise, it has to be ePAN. And the fourth is that every company has got their own internal valid documents as a part of the KYC process. If something else is defined as per the internal risk policy, that's the another document which you have to collect. So this is the process for video KYC. As a process, you have to just complete these things. Now, within these processes, what are the controls which regulators are asking? They're asking that you have to record the videos and you have to take the photographs while talking to the customers. You need to ensure that you are capturing the geotagging and you have the photo of customers matching with any of the identity proof which is giving. That identity proof can be PAN card, Aadhaar, driving license, whatever you are collecting as part of the process. The third is that you need to ask the random questions. Now that random question can be 2, that random question can be 20, depending upon how and what you want to deal with. But regulator says that you have to ask a random question and this has to get captured. You have to do the liveness check. So you are talking to your customer and completing the video KYC. Is this a live customer on the other side of the video or is this a video of that person? So that liveness check, and that liveness check is not, by the way, active. It's a passive liveness check one has to do. Then whatever OKYC, offline KYC you are collecting from Aadhaar, that cannot be older than 3 days. So basically, as a part of video KYC process, you have to ensure that if you are offline KYC you are doing on during the process, within the 3 days time, 72 hours, you have to complete your entire video KYC process. The PAN, whatever you're collecting as a part of this process, it has to be verified by the issuing authority. And through NSDL, you can do that. This is the bare minimum controls which regulators are asking you have to do. Now, here is the responsibility of the lending organization. So this is the bare minimum. Now you decide if you want to just do bare minimum and complete the video KYC process, then you can actually cover through this. But lot many players are coming up with more and more information capturing here and more different journeys probably with these controls and probably putting some more dynamics to this and making sure that they are completing this process, they are collecting the data because this data will be useful in the future. And you can actually complete the whole process with few more steps within the journey. And you can do probably the fraud identification also. You can do something else also. Now, which are the entities which can use this video KYC? Banks, NBFCs, and fintechs. The banks can also use their banking correspondents to do this video KYC process. So that's the first and most important KYC solution. So you are not meeting the customer, but remotely you are onboarding the customer. This is a summary of this. There is a lot of changes which has happened in recent past. So 10th May, the regulation says that the usage has been expanded beyond what it was earlier. Then there are some 4 or 5 key changes which has happened. So it has what is the usage changes, what are the infrastructure changes, what is the process changes, and what is the record management changes. So these are the 4 categories within which these changes have come, and there is a detailing for that. Samir has already spoken about it. You can go through that video, or you can get this detail on a website, or maybe I'll request Samir to share it further. Let's move on to the second type of KYC. So the next KYC where you don't need to really connect with the customer is the central KYC. And all of you are aware this is already there, this is present, but probably everybody has not started using it in a most appropriate way. So CKYC is a repository with the CERSAI and under SARFAESI Act. So basically the process is you need to take the live photo. So when you are onboarding a customer, you have to take their photo, you have to do the CKYC number, you have to collect the PAN details and any other documents as required by your organization or as per your risk policy. What are the controls you need to have? You have to verify this record is available as a CKYCR. CKYCR is Central KYC Repository. So you need to ensure that this data is available as part of that CKYC data repository. And you are able to retrieve those documents and you are able to verify. So RE is registered entity. So basically the lending organization. So you have to extract that information and you have to verify with the application information, and you can then confirm that, okay, this is a CKYC done, and you can onboard the customer and you can move on. Obviously, there are processes further to this, but in terms of doing the re-KYC, etc., etc. But at the time of onboarding, you can complete this process. This is again available for the banks, NBFC, and the fintechs with their own balance sheet, so they can do. Because for CKYC, you definitely need to have your own credentials as a part of the lending organizations, because this is something which you'll have to pass through as a API service, and then you can extract the information. So that's the second way of doing the KYC. The third way of doing the KYC is the digital KYC mode. Now, what's the process within the digital KYC? You need to take the live photo with the customer. So obviously, this is again a digital way of doing the KYC. What you're doing is a part of manual process. You need to do the original scene verified. That's a manual process. But here you can do the original scene verified digitally. And how will you do it? You can do it by two modes. Obviously, you have to take the concurrence of the customer through that link wherever you are sending to the customer to complete this process, or through an agent. Then on the agent, you'll have to generate the OTP through the mobile number, and then you can verify this. Or you can take the gesture-based signature on the application. The customer is there and you can complete this process. You need to collect the PAN and obviously the other any documents which is there. Now, what are the controls here? You need to take the live photo of the customer. When you're taking this photo, at that point of time, you have to also do the geo-tagging. So if I am sitting at a particular place, I am taking my selfie and picture that I'm completing the DKYC process because the link has come from a bank or say any NBFC to me to complete this process. My geo-tagging will be tagged there. Now, I have taken the photo, my location has been tagged as part of this. This is my geo-tagging. Then I complete the, how do you certify my documents? Either I do the signature, gesture-based signature, or I can do the OTP-based signature, Aadhaar-based signature. But I confirm that these are the documents, and I can take all the pictures of my PAN plus Aadhaar here and then submit the form. So when I'm submitting this PAN and any other documents, and I'm doing the gesture-based signature, I'm certifying that this is my documents and I'm submitting this document and I've taken my picture. So there are two ways you can do the digital KYC. Self-serve journey. You can initiate that link and it can go to the customers. Customers can complete that process in a 1 minute or a 1.5 minutes, it will get completed. Or many of the customers in the tier 3, tier 4, they are not equipped and they can't do this process. So they need the assisted journey, right? So your agents can also go, but your agents can complete this on behalf of you. So that 20-30% does not become the completely remote onboarding, because obviously somebody has to visit the customer's place, but you can still do this digital KYC process. Again, this is applicable to banks, NBFC, and fintechs. The last piece is the offline KYC. Now, offline KYC, again, the same process. You have to take the picture of the customer. So photo you collect the Aadhaar XML, you collect the PAN, and then you have to verify all these three. The Aadhaar which you are downloading, XML which you are downloading from the Aadhaar site, obviously that has to be done by the customer, because that process itself allows customer to do this. The OTP goes and there is a passcode which you have to do, but it is a simple process. But yes, there are some two interventions where you have to give the OTP and where you have to put the passcode, and then obviously you get that Aadhaar XML download. So that is considered to be the offline KYC. The PAN which you are collecting has to be again verified. So you have to verify that PAN from the NSDL side, and then you get to confirm that, okay, PAN is verified, the Aadhaar has been downloaded, and all the informations are matching with the input information, which is your application form information and photograph. So you can complete that OKYC. This is the same process of OKYC, is actually the part of the video KYC. In video KYC, you have to have OKYC completed first as a part of this. So this becomes one of the component of the overall video KYC process. So hence, if you're doing this OKYC, obviously you can do slightly a more longer journey and complete this process for 10-15 minutes and complete the video KYC, which also gives you an opportunity to identify some of the fraudulent activities the customer is trying to do. Basically, customer is there on the video, the same customer is there. You're completing that customer is based within the India and this location. So his address is of Delhi, but he's staying in Satara. So all these things can be identified on the fly by triangulating all this information, whatever you are collecting. So these are the 4 types of contactless KYC solutions, in my view. Obviously, there is a eKYC piece, which is only for the banks right now. So I have not included here. I've included, which is mostly in use by lending ecosystem. And that's something which I thought it's important for me to put what are the process and the controls. So if there are any questions I can take, otherwise I have also got one video KYC, the entire journey demo, and I can actually play that demo and then I can take the question and then move to the next thing. Is this okay?
What is O stand for in the OKYC?
Sorry?
Hi there, man. What is O stands for in the OKYC? It's a OTP based.
What is the
OKYC.
OKYC?
Offline.
Offline KYC, yes. OKYC is the offline KYC. That's basically downloading the Aadhaar XML from the UIDAI site. Okay. So let's move on and let's go through this video KYC journey. Maybe that would be useful to understand how is this video KYC happening. Just give me a second. Let me see. Yeah.
Meet Elon. Elon is a dynamic and hardworking professional who leads customer onboarding at his organization. Business demands him to onboard genuine customers quickly and efficiently, but his biggest nightmare is identity fraud, which could lead to a company's financial and reputational loss. Elon often worries if the KYC procedures at his company fit into the norms of the changing world. Conventional KYC procedures involve physical customer verifications, which are costly, time-consuming, and error-prone, and involve physical contact, something which is a no-no post-COVID-19 outbreak. Presenting Authbridge's Video KYC solution, a contactless verification and remote onboarding platform, an AI-powered and real-time authentication technology which is compliant, cost-effective, and convenient. With seamless customer authentication and onboarding, banking-grade assisted and non-assisted video KYC, almost 10 times increase in application processing, easily integratable APIs and end-to-end onboarding workflows. That is not all. With a range of technical capabilities, like OCR-based National ID details extraction and validation, Aadhaar offline KYC, liveness check, geolocation capture, face match between selfie and national ID photo, end-to-end encrypted video upload on RE server. So now Elon can stop worrying about the cost and regulatory pressures of verifying customers with a face-to-face executive connect. Elon gets a completely automated, paperless, secure and real-time video-based KYC and re-KYC. With one decision, Elon made himself and his company happy and more secure. You could too. Call us to know how we can help you achieve up to 50% reduction in onboarding costs, up to 90% reduction in onboarding time, up to 90% mitigation in financial and identity risks, and up to 100% increase in process efficiency. Reach out and explore the best contactless verification and onboarding platform for your business.
So if you notice that this journey has got 6 interventions and 6 steps. Within the 6 steps, there are configurable aspects which you can do and which you can decide depending upon what kind of a loan you are processing, what kind of consumer is this. One is that you are collecting the identity proof, you are collecting the address proof, and you are doing the API verification. So basically you are ensuring that the documents provided here is verified. Number 2, you're capturing that geolocation. So you know that the customer is there at that particular location, what he is stating. The third is that you know that you are actually interacting with the actual real customers because there's a liveness check which is happening and there is a face match which you are doing. So these 2 checks are confirming that there is an other side of that video. There's a customer, which is your customer, potential customers, and the face is also matching from the identity proof. The 5th thing, what you're doing is that this entire video is getting encrypted the way you want to keep it. So basically, once this entire process gets completed, this entire data gets encrypted. The 6th thing is that when you're asking the customer, you can actually ask during that journey any more documents, additional documents, which you may be asking, and probably customer, as part of your underwriting, it is required. So you can actually add those things as well. And you can capture all these interactions during the video. So obviously it is getting captured. After the video KYC is completed, a link gets generated and it comes as a part of your database. And that link has got 2 parts. One is the video part. Second is your documents part. So whatever documents you've collected and verified, so that's the part. So this becomes very, very seamless process. Now you can decide you want to take 4 documents, which documents, You want to have 3 random questions, 5 random questions. I think those are the ways everybody's using in a different way to really make sure that KYC process is also getting completed, identity verification is also getting completed, fraud identification is also getting completed, and then you can complete this whole onboarding process in a much faster and much safer way. So let's move on to the some other solutions. So so I have again mentioned here some of the most I would say digital solutions which is in demand, and where actually we are finding that a lot of customers are looking to some kind of a solutions around it, or maybe some kind of a solutions building and end-to-end building these digital platforms. Now, video KYC we have already spoken, and we know the features which is mentioned here, but there is another extension to this. So KYC process is one process where you are getting compliance thing done, but as a part of underwriting process. And let's take that if it is a mortgage loan, or if it is a high ticket loan, or say an SME loan, you would like to interact with the customers. Today, in a scenario where there is a lockdown, there is a people are operating from different places, not very comfortable, you still want to do this as a process, right? So another technology or a digital way of doing things are that video personal discussion is something which many organizations are exploring. And we have seen that some of the early adoptions already started happening in the SME space. So unsecured business loan is one place where video personal discussion is already in use, right? What is a video personal discussion? So remotely you are interacting with multiple set of people, and you can interact with 5, 6 people. So 2 directors sitting in a different location, your underwriting is sitting in a different location, your sales guy is sitting in a different location, or probably their chartered accountant is in a different location, bringing everybody on a call. You can initiate that call at one particular time. You can do this entire interaction on the conversation of underwriting questions or understanding about their business. This also gives you an opportunity to really see the premise of the business premise. So if the customer is sitting at their office, you can actually through this video feed, you can capture that. You have an option of back-end, front-end camera so that you can show if you want to see some of the stocks or the business activity happening there. You don't need to go and rely on the customer to do the video and send it to you. You can do this in the live chatting, and you can capture all this information. This will also help you in terms of capturing again the geotagging. So which location he is at. So you can actually latitude, longitude, you can capture. And during the conversation, probably your underwriter will say that I need some more document. Can you show me the latest GST document? So during the process, that GST document can be uploaded, or any bank statement can be uploaded in the process. So you are basically doing on a digital way, you are interacting with your customers and completing this entire underwriting process, right? So that's something which is early adoption stage in the unsecured side or the mortgage sides. And we are seeing that this is something which will streamline the entire underwriting process. The third thing is the digital address verification. I have spoken about it briefly in the beginning. Today, 30% of entire lending or unsecured largely is going for a physical verification. So an agency guy is going to the customer place, verifying the address. You are depending on the data which is provided by third party. You are also ensuring that this information is coming on time. And you know, there's a lot of challenges now, considering that not that everybody is available to go and visit the customer. Customers are not comfortable. You will send somebody to the customer's house, probably they will not be comfortable. So digital address verification is one of the way to verify address digitally. And this is again on the similar platform where you can actually generate a link and send it to your customers. The customer can complete that process in 1.5 minutes. He can again take his selfie. So that selfie ensures that the customer is doing this because you have a liveness check and you have a face match check. You can ask customer in the same journey to collect PAN card or say address proof. So basically you're capturing that documents digitally. You're verifying in the real time through an API. The third stage is that your geotagging is happening at the same time. So if there is any difference in the geotagging versus what address he has given versus what address he is doing this process, you can clearly figure it out, and you can either stop the journey or maybe you can ask the customer if you're not there at the address which you have given. So to do this process again once he's at that address. So, and the fourth piece is that you can also ask to take the picture of their house, interior, exterior, landmark, whatever. I mean, depending upon how you want to do this. But the objective is that you are verifying the details of their identity and address document. You are tagging the geolocation. You are doing the liveness check. you are doing the face match, and triangulation of all this information is giving you an outcome that the customer is staying at that particular address. Now, not necessarily that customer would be always at that address, right? You can do this process any point of time. It is a self-serve journey. Once you are generating that link, you can give an option to the customer that customer can start this process at 8 o'clock in the evening, morning 7:30, depending upon customer convenience, because this is a link which is valid and you have all those controls. So that's one of the piece where we are finding there's a lot of traction. Now, there is an extension to this entire digital address verification. Many organizations and the large banks, they are still doing the physical verification of assets in many of their portfolios. So we are finding that they're also using this, or they are also planning to use this as a part of post-disbursement asset verification. So if you have given a construction equipment, if you have given a, say, car loan, or if you have given some tractor loan, you can actually generate that link and you can send it to the customer. Customer can really take the picture of the asset, the registration number. Instead of address proof, they can actually upload the RC, which can again be verified through an API. And you get to know that this address is based at this particular place because geotagging has happened, the RC has been uploaded, and the vehicle picture has been there. So there are various ways of using this digital address verification tool. This can also be used for the limit management in the credit card. You are doing a transaction, high value transaction, say 1 lakh and plus, and you put a trigger that after every such high transaction volume, I'll generate a trigger. And this trigger can go, rather than verifying the address, at least this trigger can have 2 steps. The same platform can have 2 steps. You take a selfie, and the moment you're taking the selfie, your geotagging is happening. So basically, if you have done a transactions, say in Dubai Mall, Dubai, right? And who has done it? You as a customer has done it, or somebody else has done it. You just generate that link and goes to their customer. Today, it is going as an information that your transaction has happened. But can you verify it, and can you do one level ahead? And that's where you can use these platforms and these services. So there are various use cases of such digital platforms. And I think one has to look at that. How is their organization looking at the risk and the overall fraud potential, or say identify this potential fraud cases and eliminate that at early stages. So you can use this in a different way and fashion. So, but these are some of the early adoption, which at least I am seeing which is happening in the market, and wherever we are talking, we are finding. One of the things which is key to all this platform is that biometric is going to be one of the key. Because avoiding the fraud, so you need to have a biometric checks and verification. And those biometrics are largely probably the voice recognition, matching of the voice, the way you are talking, the way you are punching the information, keystroke. So as I said, analytics is going to be very, very key if you are going to the digital, and these things will evolve over a period of time. But some of these adoption has already started in the Western countries and some different market, specific market where the digital journey has already been placed. So last piece on the digital onboarding solution is, and specifically I put it that if you look at these platforms, they all are capturing the data. So alternate data analysis is becoming one of the very strong play for all these financial services, or say insurance, because you can only get more insight if you're collecting more and more data, and your ability to process this data and getting more insight is going to be the clear-cut differentiator from your peers, and how fast you are evolving with the situation. So collecting the information about the customers, which is available in the digital footprint way, is that you have credit worthiness. So you can figure out what is the credit appetite of the customers, what's the spending pattern, what's the living standard, what is the geographical risk index. So this particular geography, how are the customers behaving of this particular geography? So probably you can do some kind of analytics on top of it. So you can find out all this risk intelligence based on collecting the information and get more insight about customers. So 360 view of the customer, that okay, he has, so credit bureau gives you the information that this is what is the repayment history, but you really don't know what's the income. So basically based on that, you will derive the income. There are other information which is available. So phone bill, electricity bill, house, which location you're staying, all those informations are available. You can actually extract those information use it for understanding more and more about the customer, and then providing those products and solutions at that point of time whenever he is required. This becomes very, very useful when you are doing the 360-degree of underwriting, and not really the asset-based underwriting or say product-based underwriting. You're doing the customer underwriting. And then this helps you in full digital end-to-end underwriting. So you really don't have any place of doing the manual intervention. So imagine a situation, you are using these 3 or 4 tools, your entire onboarding, underwriting, disbursement, and customer management. All these 4 aspects of the entire lending ecosystem is taken care of. While this is not easy, I think I'm making it easy, but it's not very easy. But I think once we start working towards these processes and adopting these, you'll be really able to understand that how do you connect all these different solutions and services to make it end-to-end seamless process. And that's one of the key where I can clearly see that whosoever is adopting it earlier, whosoever is started adopting it earlier and getting more and more insight about it, I think that they will have a clearly advantage in the market in terms of their competition and the competitors. So video KYC, video personal discussion, it's a kind of a similar platform. Probably you can say it's an extension. The digital address verification is slightly different. And I have a demo after this. So let me just put that demo for you, and maybe then I can take some questions on this if there are any questions. So this journey will actually explain you in a self-serve environment. You as a financial services, you can generate this link, and if this link goes to the customer, then what's the process and how you are able to complete that address verification digitally. Let's go through this video.
Hello there. If you like the idea of digitally verifying addresses of your customers, here's a cherry on top. Your staff member can easily manage this entire process from anywhere, anytime. Check it for yourself. The entire case initiation and review process will be over before you finish your coffee. You log into our portal to access the Footprints Digital, our digital address verification product. You may either choose to initiate cases or review case summaries. To initiate cases, you get 2 options to choose from: single case or many at once. Enter basic details and address of your customer one at a time and initiate individual cases. Or choose to upload an Excel file with details of several customers and initiate cases in bulk. The template for this bulk upload can be downloaded from right here. Once you initiate the cases, your customers get notified via email and SMS with a unique link. Using their smartphone, they can easily verify their address within 5 minutes. They need to register with their mobile number, enter basic details, and upload selfie picture, identity document, and house pictures. The rest is taken care of by us. The selfie image and identity document allow customer authentication based on a face match score, while house pictures and GPS coordinate triangulation ensures accurate verification of address stated by the customer. That's half the job done. How's the coffee going? Now to review the cases you have already raised, just go to Case Summary. Here you will see all the cases listed with latest ones on the top. You can search by name, mobile number, or filter based on case status. Find the case you are looking for and click here to view summary of case details, geo coordinates, and face match score. You can even view the pictures uploaded by the customer, like selfie, house pics, and the national ID. And one last thing, it's flexible enough to be aligned to your footprints and adapt to your applicant tracking systems via APIs. I hope you enjoyed this video, just like your coffee. Thanks for your time. Bye.
So I'm sure you have understood what is this digital address verification and how it is done by the customers by themselves. Obviously, this is a self-serve journey, and the customer has to be there at that particular address when they are doing it, and they have an option. You can do different languages, but again, 4 or 5 key checks happening during this entire process. It takes about 1.5 minutes. So your entire turnaround time gets reduced, and your ability to complete this process is much, much higher and more scientific rather than depending upon the third person. Now, a lot of some of the statistics I'll talk about around this. The last 6 months, we have done an analysis of all the players who are using this. 86% of the cases have given a successful result. So basically, digital address verification, you have been able to complete the process to the 86% of the cases. 14% of the cases, you have not been able to complete this process. And there are various reasons to this. So the reason is that the customer drops out, or probably customer does not give, they click the laptop picture or they click the wall picture instead of the identity documents. Obviously, that journey does not get completed. So that's the reason. But out of 86%, so 86% is completed, and almost 75% of the cases, the entire process is getting completed in less than 15 minutes. So when customer starts, they take sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or probably they just stop it in between and they complete this process again because document has to be there. But when this process starts, actually the initial few steps are clearly defined that this is the process which will, so you need to be ready with your PAN card, you need to be ready with Aadhaar card, etc., etc. But generally 75% gets completed. So initially we were also thinking that how fast this will be adopted by the players, but we realized that it has been adopted much faster, and the outcomes have been much better in terms of ensuring that you're able to complete this process digitally at a much reduced cost and much faster way. You can also do this process even when you have given money to the customers. So when you have actually given the product, after 1 month, you want to just do this process, you can do this process not with the all 5-6 steps, but probably a couple of steps of a selfie or probably the geolocation tagging. So that will give you, again, a risk intelligence way of identifying the triggers. So customer is not at that address, or customer is not completing this process. By the way, all these digital solutions, what I've spoken so far, it is actually in the web mode. So you would have seen the demo is also talking about the web mode, but actually there is an app for this. You can actually, SDK, you can use in your existing journey. If you have an app journey, you have a digital journey, you want to really put this as a part of the SDK, you can do that. The objective is that onboarding, underwriting, 100% automation. Then after that, if you're using the documentation part for the agreement, contract, eNASH, then obviously you need to do this in a web mode. Obviously, there's a workflow for this. So you can complete the full process end-to-end digitally, at least for some part of your loan amount. So not that entire every loan will be processed through this, but I think the more and more you start using it, the more and more you get data, and the more and more you start doing the analytics on top of it. So this is something which I wanted to talk about. I have
Hello there. If
slide where I've tried to put across how these solutions. So I have spoken about 4 things. I've spoken about the digital tools. I've spoken about the KYC solutions. I've spoken about digital address verification, and then the documentation. So these 4 things, how an entire journey would look like if you really have to make end-to-end journey. And at a very high level, obviously, this requires much more insight, considering that what kind of a business you are doing, what kind of a product and loans you are doing. So let's look at that. You source the loan through a website or a mobile app, and you log in and your origination process starts. You get the proof of identity and proof of address verification. These are the services which is available as an alternate data in a real-time API solution. So basically, you can do the individual identity through PAN, voter, passport, whatever you want. I mean, these are the information which is available in public domain or through some authorized agencies, and that's a plug-and-play solutions available for all of you. Then you do the business verification. So in case of the corporate or SME business, you want to do the director KYC done, you want to do the SIN verification, maybe GST verification, registration, partnership deeds, etc. So all this is available as a part of readily in terms of API services, and you can start using it and make it a full automated process. The next steps comes after the identity and address. You would like to do the income estimation or probably the capacity verification. So you have done the identity, you have done the address, you want to do the intent and capacity part, so whether there's a fraud or how much they can pay. So credit bureau report, income and employment check, bank documents, alternate data. So again, this is available in the plug and play model. So you can have a multiple credit bureau integrations, you can have a multi-bureau strategy, you can have real-time verification of Form 16, ITR, UN verification, EPFO. you have a bank statement and you can do the bank statement, or maybe you can do the bank statement fetch through the internet banking. You can do the salary certificate verification, or if you get the UN, you can actually find out real time that the customer is there and his PF is submitted through the UN portal, etc. And then you get a lot of other data. If the customer wants really to give the OTP based checks you want to do, you can do the mobile data verification. You can do the other checks in terms of what is the income, etc. There is a fraud check which you can do. So litigation data is available. So there's e-courts information available. So somebody is into the criminal, somebody is into financial litigation. What kind of a litigation? I mean, these are the things which is available for the individual as well as the business. And then you can also figure out if what is the utility or electricity bill consumption, whether these informations are available to assess the one person's income and the intent, both the things. The next process is you will do the underwriting. So once you have all this information data readily available, you complete the underwriting process in a digital way. And you at the same time, you can do the KYC. Or maybe you can just approve the loan if you are actually doing the video KYC. So you have already verified the data here, all the identity and address. As a part of process, you would like to do the video KYC once you see that this customer is eligible for a loan or any of the product, right? So you complete the video KYC process here. Again, this is a API and SDK. This is available in your lending ecosystem. So you can complete this end-to-end. Loan agreement via e-sign and e-NASH. So basically the disbursement process is getting completed through this process. So that's what I've spoken about. So your entire this piece also becomes digital. And then you do the disbursals, and after you do the disbursal, you have to do the loan servicing till the time the tenure is not completed. And during that process, you have to have a collections many a times. So you will be using the risk intelligence and you want to do the collections. The customer has not paid. Probably you would like to go for the e-NASH. You would like to send them the link of making the payment directly through some of your payment gateway. So you can integrate with the payment gateway, collect those payments. So if you look at your end-to-end digital lending process is there, and these are the solutions which is available. And we are finding that at least in the small ticket loan, or even I can talk about a couple of banks who are doing this end-to-end for the new customer acquisition, not for the cross-sell, end-to-end digital journey. And they've been able to do this successfully. Well, there are a lot of checks and balances which has been put on, but I think this is something which can be done. So I'm done with my deck, and I leave this open for question and answer session. I was just checking the time. Samir, I hope I did well this time on the timing. So I was very careful this time.
Yeah. Go ahead. Maybe time for maybe a couple of questions.
Hi, I have a question. This is Nayana. I just want to know if you had any glaring known fraudulent activity or about video KYC, and what was the learning from it, and in terms of telling customers how to handle this.
Yeah. So as of now, there is no fraudulent KYC activity which we have seen. Video KYC we have seen, but we have seen that some process failure. And we have experienced those process failures. I think those process failures have been taken care of by making changes. So I was again and again repeatedly mentioning that there's a customizable customizer. So what we have also done is that we have realized that many a times you are not able to complete the process the way it has to happen. You need to give more options to the regulated entity to complete that process. So fraudulent activities so far we have not observed, because this is anyway at the early stages, but we are seeing that the adoption is very slow and minimal